Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever session of Life Lounge. It's great to have you here. Today's session is going to be all about dealing with stress. So my name is Beth and I am a psychological wellbeing practitioner. I know that's a little bit of a mouthful. So what that basically means is that I've been trained to assess and treat people experiencing difficulties with their mental health. So I've been sort of clinically practicing for around 3 years now, and I've also set up a company which has been tailored towards dealing with stress for employees and businesses. So stress is something that we all experience from time to time, and particularly over the last few months, it's something we've seen a real increase of. So today I'm going to be giving you some practical skills that are easy to implement, but hopefully will have a big impact. So feel free to jot down any ideas or questions that you may have that we can discuss at the end. Also, if you enjoy today's session and you're interested in learning a bit more about stress management, what stress is and what you can do about it, I am running a 6-week more in-depth course starting from the 6th of August. This is something that you can sign up via the church's website, so feel free to look into it. I'd love to see you there. But for now, if you'd like to learn some quick tips for how to stress less, then keep on watching. Okay, so tip number 1 is to slow down. This can sound a bit strange if you're feeling stressed, because when we're stressed, we tend to feel as though we need to work harder, do more, rush faster, or be better in order to stay on top of everything that we've got going on. But actually, when it comes to stress management, it's really important to slow things down and to make some space in your schedule in order to start making changes. So have a think about your routine for a moment. How much free time do you actually have? Are all your activities back to back? Do you start or stop work when you mean to? Do you try and do multiple things at once? If you want to kind of manage your stress a little bit better, think about allowing yourself some free time and some gaps in between your activity. Create some free time that you haven't planned during your day. Make sure that you start and stop work when you plan to. And when you've got lots of things to do, try to make sure that you're starting an activity and then you're finishing it before you start the next one. My next tip is get a good night's sleep. So sleep is a really important part of well-being because it's where we do a lot of our replenishing and our processing from the day before. And stress can have a really big negative impact on sleep. So consider setting up a good sleep environment. We tend to get a little bit complacent when it comes to our bedrooms. Bedrooms just become another working room in the house, but it's really important to protect the place that we intend to relax. So a good sleep environment can be affected by multiple things. It could be affected by light, by noise, temperature, the comfort of your bed, the tidiness of your room, all sorts. But generally speaking, a good sleep environment will be a cool, quiet, dark, tidy place, free from reminders of things you have to do. Okay, tip number 3 is be aware of mood food. So consider what you're fueling your body with. When we're stressed, we tend to reach for those things that are quite high calorie, sugary, things like caffeine or alcohol as well, those foods that are going to give us that instant hit of energy or relaxation. So while nice, these are not always helpful in the long term because they can cause us to be very up and down. And these foods can exacerbate some of the symptoms of anxiety or low mood that you may already be experiencing. They can cause us to feel very tense and on edge, and they can cause moments during your day where you're really low and lacking in energy as well. So I'm not saying that you need to completely cut out sugar, caffeine, or alcohol in order to feel good. However, it's worth being aware of the impact that these foods can have on you so that you can make an informed choice about how much you consume. So maybe it's worth having a think about how much you're currently consuming and whether or not you think it's too much. So tip number 4 is be active. Ensuring that you have some time during your day when you are physically active is really important, even more so now that many of us are working from home. The more physical activity you do during your day, or the more intense the physical activity that you do, the better you're likely to sleep that night and the more well rested you will be. This is because you're giving your body a need to recuperate or a need to sleep. So also, exercise can help to burn off any excess energy that we have in our bodies that can lead us to feeling on edge. And also over time, it helps to build up a higher level of endorphins, which is linked to feeling happy and feeling calm. So when it comes to the physical activity you do, tailor it to what you enjoy. You know, if you don't want to go to the gym, then don't. Go for a brisk walk in the countryside or a cycle ride out in nature or something instead. Whatever you do, tailor it to your interests so that you are more inspired to get more active. Tip number 5 is rest and relax. It's really important to take time out of your schedule to rest and relax. And this can be something that is quite challenging to do, especially if you're somebody who likes to be on the go a lot of the time. However, relaxation is a skill, and it's a skill that needs to be refined, and so it's really important that you practice it. If you're thinking about trying this out, especially for the first time, you need to be quite practical in facilitating relaxation. So consider setting aside your devices or switching them off. Find a quiet, calm space where you feel comfortable, and maybe even use a video or an app to help walk you through a guided relaxation technique. The more that you practice relaxation when you're resting, the easier it will be to implement when you're feeling stressed. Okay, tip number 6 is to face up to what we have to do. It can be so tempting, especially when we're stressed, to procrastinate, to avoid, to think of 100 other things that we'd rather be doing than that one thing that's weighing on your mind. However, ultimately, this isn't going to be helpful. In fact, it's likely to build up and increase your stress because that to-do list will keep on growing, and eventually it will start to feel really unmanageable. So the better approach is to face up to those things that you have to do, to pull them out into the light so that we can see what we've got to do, make a to-do list, and then if there is a task that's too big or it feels unmanageable, you're able to break that down into more manageable, smaller pieces. If you find yourself procrastinating around a task, don't try to finish it all at once. Just try to think of a few ways that you can take steps towards finishing that task each day, and eventually you'll get there. The next tip is consider a power hour. So consider setting aside what I call a power hour during your day. What I mean by this, it's an hour which is technology free, where you set aside your devices and you're free from constant notifications demanding your time, free from unhelpful distractions, free from emails, free from comparisons on social media, just some protected time for you to focus on your day. You can do whatever you want with that time, whether there's something, a task that you really need to get done, or there's just something you'd like to enjoy and really make the most of. But you will be amazed at the difference that just 1 hour technology free can make to reducing your stress. Tip number 8 is be intentional. So the final tip for today is to really intentionally make changes. So if there's anything that you found helpful today or anything you'd like to try, I'd recommend that you set a really specific goal as to one little change or one little tweak that you'd like to make this week. maybe even jot it down so that you could tick it off if you achieve it. But it's when you start to make intentional changes to improving your mood that you'll really start to notice the difference. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions.